They don't break, they don't complain, and they definitely don't make your mechanic rich. These are the SUVs that refuse to die, overbuilt, unkillable machines that laugh at modern reliability. Buy one of these, and you're cutting off your mechanic's paycheck, because once you've got it, you won't be back anytime soon. Let's dive into 5 unstoppable SUVs that mechanics secretly wish you'd forget about. If there's a definition of overbuilt SUV, it's the Toyota 4Runner. The design is blocky on purpose. Tall hood, upright glass, thick doors, a cabin that feels carved from a single piece instead of clipped together. Inside, materials are honest, hard-wearing plastics, fabrics or leather that don't cry at the first scratch, switchgear that clicks with that old-school Toyota stubbornness, trims like SR5, Trail, TRD Off-Road, and TRD Pro, add real hardware, skid plates, beefier dampers, a locking rear differential, the kind of kit you actually feel when a driveway turns into a riverbed. Ground clearance is generous by feel, roughly 9 inches in stock guys, which means curbs, ruts, and snow berms stop being events and go back to being background. Under the hood, the heart is the 4.0 V6. About 270 horses and torque in the high 200s, tied to a 5-speed automatic that shifts like a dependable old friend. Earlier generations offered a 2.7 inline-4 and even manuals, but the V6 is the folk hero. Expect fuel economy in the high teens combined, call it something like 16 city, 20 highway, the tax you pay for a ladder frame and real 4x4. Chronic issues? Few, which is the joke. Look for underbody rust on northern trucks, tired bushings and shocks on rigs that actually saw trails, and the usual age-related seepage. The engine and transmission themselves are marathoners. Market acceptance has always been cult famous rather than mainstream because crossovers seduce buyers with softer rides, touchscreens, and better mileage. The 4Runner sells durability, not dazzle, and that filters the crowd, which is exactly why mechanics hate it. There's no fragile turbo to coddle, no fussy dual clutch, no brittle air suspension drama. Owner visits are fluids, brakes, tires, and then silence for years. Buy a clean one with records, and you don't just get an SUV, you get a time extension on peace of mind. And if you think the 4Runner is tough, wait till you meet the next one. A family hauler that looks boring on the outside, but quietly humiliates every modern SUV in reliability. There's nothing flashy about the Honda Pilot, and that's exactly why it earned its legend. While the world went chasing chrome and touchscreens, the second-gen Pilot quietly became one of the most unkillable family SUVs ever built. Its boxy shape wasn't meant to impress your neighbors, it was meant to last. Thick body panels, tall stance, almost 8 inches of ground clearance, and a cabin built from materials that feel more industrial than elegant. Step inside, and it's honest, practical layout, huge glass area, seats that still hold their shape after a decade of kids, dogs, and road trips. Under the hood lies the 3.5-liter V6, one of Honda's greatest hits. Around 250 horsepower, smooth as silk, paired to a 5-speed automatic that's not fancy, but refuses to quit. With regular oil changes and timing belt service every 100,000 miles, these engines routinely pass 300,000 miles without drama. Fuel economy hovers around 16 in the city and 22 on the highway. Not record-breaking. But you don't buy a Pilot to save fuel. You buy it to forget what car problems feel like. Mechanics, they roll their eyes when one pulls in, because 9 out of 10 times it's for simple things. Fluids, brakes, tires, maybe a motor mount if you're unlucky. The V6 doesn't overheat, the transmission doesn't fry itself, and even the electronics, that weak spot in most modern SUVs, just keep working. There's no turbo, no air suspension, no headaches. It's reliability in its purest, most boring form. And that's the beauty of it. In the used market, the Pilot never got the respect it deserved. It wasn't cool enough for enthusiasts or stylish enough for image-hungry buyers. But ask anyone who's owned one, they'll tell you it's the car that never left them stranded, even after 250,000 miles. The ones that were maintained? They're still out there, running strong, probably hauling another family through another decade. Mechanics may wish you'd forget about it, but anyone who values peace of mind knows you only buy a Honda Pilot once and then you stop looking. Quick question before we move on. From which city are you watching this video? Drop it in the comments. And hey, if you're loving these unstoppable tanks, hit that like button and subscribe. It helps a ton. And up next, we're leaving comfort behind for something born in the cold, built by engineers who treat reliability like religion. If the Japanese built tanks, the Subaru Forester would be one of them. Especially the third generation, from the late 2000s to early 2010s. A time when Subaru still made cars for people who valued grit over gadgets. It doesn't scream luxury, it doesn't beg for attention, it just does its job. Forever. The design is pure utility. Tall windows, high roofline, no wasted curves. Inside, it's simple but timeless. Thick plastics, logical controls, and seats that somehow stay comfortable after hundreds of thousands of miles. Nothing fancy, nothing fragile. Under the hood sits the 2.5-liter flat-4 engine, a Subaru trademark. About 170 horsepower, smooth and low-slung for that classic center of gravity advantage. Paired with the brand's legendary symmetrical all-wheel drive, the Forester has a balanced, unshakable feel whether it's on snow, mud, or highway. Ground clearance hovers around 8.7 inches, which makes it ready for trails most soft-road crossovers wouldn't dare touch. Fuel economy sits near 20 miles per gallon in the city and 26 on the highway. Not record-breaking, but impressively consistent even after years of use. Mechanics know this one too well, and they'll admit, when properly maintained, it's a nightmare for their wallets. Sure, early models had head gasket concerns, but Subaru fixed those issues years ago. Once that's sorted, these engines run endlessly. The transmissions, especially the 4-speed automatics and manuals, are practically indestructible if you don't abuse them. And the all-wheel drive system? It just works. No drama, no failures, just traction on demand. The Forester never exploded in sales like RAV4S or CR-Vs because it was built for a quieter kind of buyer, the one who cares about engineering, not image. But those who bought one rarely regret it. It's not uncommon to see them pushing past 300,000 miles with the original drivetrain still humming along. So if the Pilot was the family tank, the Forester is the mountain goat, modest, unstoppable, and the reason your mechanic keeps pretending not to see you drive by. And next, we're heading from Japanese precision to American brute strength. This one wasn't just built tough, it was built to outlive the very roads it drives on. If reliability had a badge shaped like a brick, it would read Ford Expedition, the full-size SUV that America forgot, but mechanics never did. While newer SUVs chase hybrid badges and Wi-Fi signals, the Expedition keeps doing what it's done since the 90s, hauling families, towing boats, and shrugging off miles like it's nothing. The design is exactly what you'd expect from a truck-based Ford. Big shoulders, simple lines, and a presence that doesn't need to yell. Inside, it's pure utility wrapped in comfort. Wide seats, solid plastics, and a dashboard that looks like it was made to survive a construction site. No drama, no delicate trims, just toughness. Under the hood, the sweet spot lies in the third generation, the one running the 5.4-liter Triton V8, around 300 horsepower and torque close to 360 pound-feet, paired to a 6-speed automatic that's as dependable as it is simple. Fuel economy sits around 15 combined. And yes, it's thirsty, but it pays you back in endurance. With over 8 inches of ground clearance and a chassis derived from the F-150, the Expedition isn't a crossover pretending to be rugged. It is rugged. The kind of SUV that laughs at heavy trailers, rough roads, or heat-soaked highways. Ask any mechanic, and they'll tell you, the Expedition doesn't bring money, it brings boredom. The engine runs forever if you stay on top of oil changes, and even the transmission, often the first thing to fail in big SUVs, just keeps rolling. The only chronic issue worth mentioning is spark plug seizure in early years. Once that's handled, you've basically got a tank with cup holders. In the market, it never got the fame of the Tahoe or the glamour of the Escalade because Ford built it for people who wanted substance, not status. And that's exactly why it's a hidden gem today. It's one of the few full-size SUVs that still feels mechanical, still feels real. Buy one, and you're not just avoiding your mechanic, you're making him lose sleep wondering why you never come back. And before you think American reliability is a myth, wait till you see the next one. It's a mid-sized beast that took Japanese discipline and German precision and somehow made them both nervous. If there's one SUV that single-handedly proved Americans can build a tank for the civilized world, it's the Chevrolet Tahoe. Forget fancy tech, forget turbocharged fragility. This is the kind of machine you buy once and keep for 20 years. The Tahoe was never about trends. It was about torque, steel, and time. The design says it all. Squared stance, broad shoulders, proportions that make lesser SUVs look like toys. Every door shuts with a reassuring thud, and the interior, even in older models, feels like something designed to last through generations, not leasing cycles. Leather cracks? Sure, but the structure underneath doesn't. Everything inside screams utility, from the thick steering wheel to the old-school analog gauges that still work after hundreds of thousands of miles. Under the hood, the formula is simple and brilliant. A 5.3-liter V8, roughly 320 horsepower, over 330 pound-feet of torque, paired with a 6-speed automatic that was built back when transmissions weren't glass. There's no turbo lag, no complicated hybrid wizardry, just pure displacement and rock-solid engineering. Fuel economy? Around 15 miles per gallon combined, but that's the cost of immortality. With body-on-frame toughness and nearly 9 inches of ground clearance, the Tahoe doesn't just drive, it dominates. Ask any mechanic what they think about these, and you'll get the same smirk. They know it's bad for business. The LS engines inside these things are known to run 500,000 miles if you treat them right. Oil changes, fluids, and maybe a set of suspension bushings, that's the drama. The only thing that consistently wears out on a Tahoe is the owner's patience waiting for something to finally go wrong. It never blew up in the luxury crowd because it wasn't trying to impress anyone. The Tahoe is for people who value reliability over reputation, the kind of buyers who quietly rack up 300,000 miles while their neighbors trade in SUVs that can't survive 10. So if the 4Runner was the off-road samurai, the Pilot the family fortress, and the Forester the mountain goat, the Tahoe is the American warhorse. Built to outlast your mechanic's excuses, and probably your next car, too. These SUVs don't just last, they outlive your mechanic's patience. Buy one, take care of it, and you might never step foot in a repair shop again. That's why they hate them, and why you'll love owning one.